Hey friends, it's Ren. I hope you guys are doing well. I just kind of wanted to start this video by addressing the things that are happening in the world that are still happening, whether your timeline has settled down or not. That is that Black Lives Matter. It is a fact. It is not something that is or should be contested, but our system is treating them like they don't matter, and it's just inexcusable, it's reprehensible. If you take any issue with my stance on that fact, you can unsubscribe, you can block me, all of my social media. I just don't care, because I never want my presence to be one that makes racists feel safe and Black people feel scared or uncomfortable. So I just want to be clear, regardless of your opinions, Black lives still matter, and there needs to be revolutionary change in this country because it's absolutely disgusting and abhorrent. Like with the last video, I'm going to leave links of ways you can help below. I'm also going to include links to organizations that help Black trans people because Black trans lives also matter, and it's Pride. So in the spirit of the month, give to people who really need your help. So now let us get into the tag portion of this video. I really enjoy this tag. It's just fun to like reflect on the reading that you've done throughout the year. So the first question was very easy to answer, and that is, what is the best book that you've read in 2020? And it's Beloved by Toni Morrison. This book is just so unique. It's such a unique book too, especially in a narrative that's kind of been done quite often, which is the reality of slavery in the United States. It just takes such an interesting angle, and Toni Morrison's writing is just off the charts. Like, I've never read anything like the way that she writes. I've never read a style similar to hers. It's without a doubt the best book that I've read in 2020 so far. I've seen this book described in a way that is really spoilery, so I'm gonna try not to spoil you with my description of it, but it is about Sethi, who was a slave on a plantation, the legacy of slavery and the trauma that comes from slavery haunts her wherever she goes, and it is a sort of fabulism take. There's supernatural ghost elements, a very strong element, you could say, that's kind of accepted by the community. So the writing is a masterclass. It really is. Stick with the first few chapters because I would always get lost and I would just be like, I don't know what this book is about, I don't know what's going on, like what am I reading right now? And then I eventually got through it all, and now I'm saying that it's the best book that I've read so far this year, so just stick through. It can be kind of confusing and disorienting because of the way that she writes, but it's worth it, I promise. The next question is the best sequel that I've read so far in 2020, and I have not read any sequels. I feel like I've established well on this channel by now that I don't really like series that much. I don't read very many series in general, so sorry. So the next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and that is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This book is about a student-teacher relationship and the trauma that it causes the main female character as she starts to realize that her relationship with her teacher was not actually a relationship and that she was being taken advantage of. The reason that I haven't read this yet is just because my mental health is just in the trash right now, so I think it's hard for me to read books like this because I know that they're just gonna like increase the storm clouds in my brain. I've heard mixed things, but I've heard mostly good things from people that I trust, so I'm taking that as a sign that it's a go and that I should definitely get to this as soon as I have the mental capacity to do so. The next question is the most anticipated books for the second half of 2020. I keep forgetting what year it is. For that, my answers I feel like are kind of basic. I feel like everyone is excited for these, but the first one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is by V.E. Schwab, who I really, really love, as you guys probably already know. Well, I love Shades of Magic. Her other books are not my favorite. So the concept of this one, though, is really interesting to me. It's like this girl makes a pact with the devil so that she'll never die, and the catch is that no one ever remembers her, but one boy does. That's all I know, and it also could be wrong. I'd really try, like, I like to read the descriptions first and just see if there's anything that catches my attention, and I just try to forget everything that I read because I like to just sort of go in blind, but that is what I have gathered that that book is about. But my second most anticipated release is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is about a trans boy who is trying to banish a ghost and prove that he's a real brujo, which is a male witch, and it just sounds so good. And I've heard that there's like a romance between the ghost and the trans boy, and I'm like, yes, supernatural love. I don't know, I just find that really interesting. So I am really looking forward to it. I was so sad when it got pushed back. I'm really looking forward to getting it in the second half of the year. The next question is, what was your biggest disappointment of 2020 so far? And for me, that would be Circe by Madeline Miller. It's funny because I still gave this 4 stars. I still enjoyed it. I just expected it to be a new favorite, and it really wasn't. It really missed the mark for me. I was so sad that I didn't absolutely love this, but sometimes that happens. The next question is, what was your biggest surprise? And for me, that would be House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. This completely came out of left field. There were a few things that I was considering for this, but when I say that I did not expect to enjoy this, like, I was expecting to vaguely enjoy it the way that I vaguely enjoy most YA standalone fantasies, but this, I gave it 5 stars. Like, I really loved it, so it kind of came out of left field for me. For those of you who don't know, this is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, but it is dark and gothic and just, oh my god, it's so good. Like, the sisters are getting murdered, and the main sister that we follow is trying to figure out who did it. I just love it. I thought it was so good, so this is definitely the biggest surprise for me. The next question is, who is your new favorite author, either new to you or a debut author? And that for me is Case and Calendar, who wrote Felix Ever After, or Talia Hibbert, who wrote Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I have not read any more from these authors, but I am extremely excited to, because I loved both of these books so much. I gave them both 5 stars, and I just, I loved them so much. So I'm really looking forward to having more to read from them. I know the second one in this sort of world is coming out. It's Take a Hint, Danny Brown, I believe. So oof, I'm very excited. The next question is, who is your newest fictional crush? I don't really have a fictional crush because I don't read a lot of adult books that can have like crushes on the characters, and then I don't want to have a crush on a bunch of 16-year-olds from the YA that I read, because that's questionable. If I had to pick, I would say Red and Chloe from Get a Life, Chloe Brown, but I feel like we would have to be a throuple because I don't want to break them up. They're so cute. But if we could be like in a polyamorous relationship, all in love with each other, that would be cool. The next question is newest favorite character, and that is going to go to Felix Love from Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. This book, you guys, it really took me out, and the biggest reason for that was Felix and his whole inner monologue about self-love and just the struggle that he goes throughout this book is so reflective of my own. Obviously not everything, because he is Black. I don't know, there's just so much about like what he had to say that really resonated with me. So yeah, Felix Love, Jesus Christ, great character, great book. The next question is a book that made you cry. If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know that every book makes me cry because I am just a crier. But for this I have 2 answers, because one made me cry the hardest, and then one made me cry the most consistently throughout the entire book. The one that made me cry the hardest was Lovely War by Julie Berry. This one made me lose it. Like, I was sobbing. I can't spoil it. I can't tell you what part, but someone was in danger, and I thought that they were down for the count, and I really just lost it. I couldn't even read because I was sobbing so hard. So this made me cry the hardest. This made me cry the longest. When I say that I was like, tears were streaming pretty much the entire time that I read this book. It was just a really powerful experience to read things that, you know, you identify with and see them on a page. So it just, yeah, I just cried really the whole time I was reading it, but especially at the end. The next question is a book that made you happy. Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. This whole series just makes me so happy. There was more serious stuff in this one, but it still just had this vibe of like hopefulness and warmth and support, and it made me feel really good. These always do, so I'm really excited for the next one to come out. I don't read them online, I know that I can, but I just really prefer to like wait for them and read them in this format. It just, I don't know, it makes my experience better, so that's what I do. The next question is, what's the most beautiful book you've bought this year? And I have two answers, but one of them is obviously gonna be Felix Ever After. I just love this cover so much. It's just absolutely beautiful. I can't get enough of it. It's gorgeous. Ugh, I love it. But the other answer that is not Felix Ever After, because I'm sure you guys are sick of me talking about that book, but I never will stop, is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, this Penguin Vintage Classics edition. And it is just so cute. I mean, look at that. It even has a little quote on the back, like it says, "Do you think because I am poor, obscure, plain, and little, I am soulless and heartless?" Which does sum up Jane Eyre very well. This is an absolutely beautiful book. I love it. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I don't need to read any book, really. I'm kind of pretty lax and lenient. I'm not putting that sort of goal on myself, but I will say I have the same book for this question as I did last year, which is very embarrassing, but it is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. Listen, he's not in a hurry to write the last one, and I'm not in a hurry to read the second one. That's how I'm seeing it, because yeah, this was definitely my answer for this question last year, and I definitely didn't read it last year, and I definitely still need to read it. If I hear that he's releasing the third one, maybe I'll hurry myself up a little bit, but I'm just not, like I said, if he's not in a hurry to finish the series, then I'm not in a hurry either, so that's that. But I will say this one because I feel really guilty about not having read the second one yet, even though it's been on my shelves, and yeah, I just need to get to it. I forgot to mention, this is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles. The first one is The Name of the Wind, which you have probably heard of a lot if you're on booktube, but yeah, this is the second one in the series. It's about Kvothe, who is I don't even know what he is. He's like a hero, I guess, and a bard comes and asks him to tell him the story of his life, and he does, and so we get modern day things and flashbacks, and yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, so I don't know, it's my dislike of series. That's what's holding me back. So that is it for the mid-year book freakout tag. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Like I said, I will leave links of ways you can help with the current situation below. Please do. Even if you can't donate, there are things you can do to passively donate money. I'm also gonna leave some videos of Black creators talking about what it's like to be Black on booktube down below, some of my favorite Black creators. Please go watch those videos because their words are much more important than mine. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!
Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Where you gonna run to? Along them day, while I run to the rock. Please hide me, Lord, I run to the rock.